Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I am here with Alf Barbalunga. For those of you that don't know Alf, he is a candidate running for Berkshire County Sheriff this year. Alf, thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Thank you, Mike. It's a pleasure, and thanks for accommodating us. I know we had a couple scheduling conflicts, so appreciate your patience.
Yeah, I know it's a crazy time of year, and sometimes it takes time.
Definitely.
So I guess for those who are not familiar with you or your campaign, if you just want to give a brief introduction of who you are and why you're running for office this year.
Yeah, definitely appreciate it. So the number one thing for a quick dive or deep dive is our website, barbalunga.com. Actually, there's a bunch of different resources that all drive to barbalunga.com. Anybody we talk to enjoys it. They get some information that they've never been privy to before. And we think it's a quality resource because at the end of the day, it's about educating voters so they can make an informed decision. First half of this campaign, we consider the campaign halfway over tomorrow. First half of the campaign, we've really been concentrating on this. Number one, there's such a position as a Berkshire County Sheriff. And you may be amazed that some people may not know that, but I'd estimate over 50% are not even aware. Two, the sheriff is an elected position. Three, there's an election this year, September 6th is the primary. Fourth, I'm an official candidate. And then fifth, we finished out pretty much the first half of the season driving people to this website. Our traffic is outstanding for a non-commerce website. So that's pretty much what we've been doing. I am running. I've been planning on this for my whole life since I was 8 years old. I know that sounds a little odd, but the time I was introduced to the sheriff and I asked him what he did for work. Again, I'm an 8-year-old. What do I know? And he told me he was in the business of helping people. That was the first thing that resonated with me as a young little boy.
And who was that under?
That was Carmen C. Masmiano,
okay,
Jr. And he, I believe, was the longest serving sheriff in the history of Berkshire County Sheriffs. He had a 32-year consecutive tenure, which we're wildly opposed to, as we can get into a little bit later. But he also made a comment to me. Again, I didn't understand at the time, but therefore, by the grace of God goes I. And it really put into perspective about people's places in life and opportunities I've had that others haven't had, and how really the whole mission should be just to pay it forward, which I've been doing for 31 years. And this will be the final chapter of my career. If the voters honor us with a win, we're going to go in and we're going to do some good work. And as I just alluded to, we strongly believe in term limits. We've publicly stated that, and we're going to abide by that.
And what is your current profession, or what are you coming from as far as your background?
So unfortunately for me, I'm on an unpaid leave of absence. The pleasure of doing this, I had to take a leave of absence. I'm grateful for my employer approving it. So previously I was a chief probation officer at the Southern Berkshire District. And either way, I'll return to that job on September 7th. I'll be in my chair the day after this election ends. And I'm responsible for supervising the 15 towns on the Connecticut-New York border. That's the second largest district court jurisdiction in the entire Commonwealth. I love the job. I've been down there for 20 consecutive years. Wonderful people I've worked with, and it's been a nice part of my journey to set up this campaign.
Okay. And for those, I guess, who aren't incredibly familiar with what the role of sheriff is, what would you, if elected sheriff, what would you bring to the table that would be different than what we have now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously wide ranging, but to get to the meat and potatoes, sheriff's position in Massachusetts, and there's 14 across the state, Berkshire County being one, obviously, is simply care and custody. If you come in as an inmate or a detainee, you should not be leaving other than by an official mandate. So, i.e., you should not be escaping. That's an important part of the job. That has to go along with public safety. The second part is care. If you come in, especially as an inmate, you should be leaving in better shape. So we call it the trifecta of anti-recidivism. Three things go into that. One, if you have any substance use issues, those should be mitigated. That's a massively high percentage of our clientele for sure. Two, when you have educational deficiencies, which is high as well, you should have those resolved. Usually that looks like a GED. Sometimes it can be a high school diploma, often some introductory collegiate credits. Third, and most importantly, and these two get us to number three, you should come out with some type of job certification, some type of skill set that is attractive to employers. Because at the end of the day, the way the sheriff's office helps to combat public safety and anti-recidivism is bringing people out into the community that are able to work. That's what it gets down to, Mike, because 87% of these people are going to be your neighbors, colleagues, employees, employers, who knows, but they're going to be coming out. 98% are coming out no matter what. There's some movement for moving out of the area. You have to position these people to take care of themselves. When you do that, you see a much higher quality of life, neighborhood satisfaction, and a much lower crime rate. Right now in Massachusetts, 2 of the top 350 plus cities for violent crime are in Berkshire County, Pittsfield and North Adams. That is outrageous. It's unacceptable. That's a whole nother show. But the sheriff's job can mitigate that by allowing inmates to reintegrate to the community with those skill sets that they need. That's the number one thing. I'm very upset and distressed, as is my team. Recently, we just found out a week ago today, a female inmate from Berkshire County passed away. You haven't seen it on any official news press releases. You haven't seen it from the sheriff's office discussing it. It's something that is very distressing. That's the bottom line. As I said, care and custody. Person comes in, they should not leave in a body bag. It's as simple as that. That is your job.
They died in custody?
Yeah, they died in custody. And unfortunately, it's a female. And all we've been talking about are women's issues here and women's equality and equity. No woman should be outside of Berkshire County at all at the Chicopee facility at all. And like I said, it's very distressing. So we're gonna have more on that later with an official press release in keeping with that. We've also done some dives, and the more we open up here behind what we call the curtain of non-transparency, the more distressing information we find. We found in the last, and again, I want to make sure this is accurate for your viewership. I know you have a robust viewership. In the last 3.5 years, we have 3 confirmed deaths and 1 escape. So every 10 months, we're averaging either an escape or a death under Tom Buller's leadership and his executive team leadership. If you go back a little bit farther on that statistic, he's been in office for a little less than 12 years. In less than 9 years, we have 3 confirmed deaths and 2 escapes. So on that scenario, every 22 months, we're averaging a death or an escape. Again, this is your business. There are no excuses. If there are issues, immediately notify the public. Let them know so they can dig in about it, what's going on. But as we've come to find out, there's no transparency here. There's no notifications. We'll see what media outlet picks up on it after our press release. But I'm telling you right now, whether I was wearing this hat or not, being the public safety, law enforcement, corrections business, I'm distressed. And mostly because I am so convicted that our women should not be outside of Berkshire County. They should be here.
Would you say that's one of the key parts of your platform?
Yeah, the platform's pretty much one. We're gonna be part of the public safety effort in Berkshire County, as we discussed. And really for us, that's no escapes and it's no recidivism to the best of our ability. In combination with that, it's how we're spending our money, that fiscal stewardship. In 10 years, Mike, we have twice as many executive leadership team personnel. So that's like your VPs of a corporation, twice as many. It's gone from 8 to 15. And we have 1/3 the inmates. And as you may be aware from what I said, we have no women anymore. So most people that don't know anything about corrections, as they maybe should not want to, immediately that resonates with them. You have 1/3 amount of work and twice as many managers. What's going on here? So that's about fiscal stewardship. I'm not interested in motorcycles and horse-mounted patrols and horse equestrian therapy and perhaps hydroponics and Hummer military vehicles and chainsaws and boats and snowmobiles. That doesn't interest me. What interests me are these inmates coming out from that facility better than we left off. And again, there's some good work that goes on up there for sure, but it has to be a analysis. Are we getting bang for our buck? And it's very, very tough to get answers. We have a team that's been digging in for many months on this. We have more transparency ever. If you go to the website, every time someone reaches out to me, the conversation starts. I went on your website. Wow. And it's usually not a good wow. That's the bottom line. So the next part is, like I said, we're going to move our women back immediately. You'll hear a lot of rhetoric. Statutorily, it's not allowed. That's nonsense. All of it is nonsense. It's just the mindset of knowing that's the right thing and getting the job done. Tom Bowler's doubled down. Again, I actually appreciate that. You know, he's a man of conviction when he says what he's going to do. And that's why this race is an interesting race. A lot of races, Mike, you have kind of candidates that are in the central lane, and they're not really that different. You know, Tom Bowler's better looking than I am. Maybe I can speak a little better, but we're the same entity. That's not the case here. All our positions are polarizingly opposite. So he's doubled down. He's not bringing our women back. He said it. Okay, I'm bringing them back immediately. He's not concerned with programming inside the jail, which there's almost none, by the way, but he's not concerned that does not lead to jobs. He said programming for itself is okay. It doesn't have to lead to a job. That's huge for us. You're talking about what other platforms we discuss. As I said, I publicly announced term limits. I truly believe that. You know, I pontificated before about the United States president. There should be one term, 6 years, no nonsense.
But to implement term limits for sheriff, wouldn't that be something that would be from a legislative?
Yeah, I believe it's actually constitutional, but if not, it's legislative. But that's the thing. I don't have to worry about setting that up because I self-announced it. If I'm honored enough to win, 2 terms maximum, that's it. Like I said, the incumbent before had 32 consecutive years. This gentleman, Tom, is going for at least 18 years, if that's true. We'll find out as the summer goes on. That's not healthy. What happens, Mike, is as much good work as you want to accomplish and all those great ideas, it eventually pivots and you go off point of those agendas. And what happens is it pivots to protection for you and your executive leadership team. That ends up being the part that matters, not what we could get done. And what you're hearing now, and again, it's pretty disingenuous. Most people know. You're seeing Tom come out. We're going to do this. We're thinking about that. We're going to try to get a grant for this. We're going to reintegrate a program that failed in 2015. All that stuff's great stuff. But the time to get it done was when you had 12 years in office, when nobody was looking. You had no candidate about to issue a press release about multiple deaths and escapes. You have no bad audits. You have no media pressure when that press release comes out. And most importantly, you have no election on your doorstep. That's pressure. All that good stuff should have been done before. So we always say respectfully, what are you possibly going to do in the next 6 years if the voters vote for you that you did not already have the opportunity to do in 12? It's not enough that you may have some energy. It's not enough you're a nice guy. Nobody's saying you're not. It's not enough you've done nothing personally wrong. That is a way, way low bar for us to put a public servant in that the taxpayers are paying for.
All right. Well, not to cut you off, I was just looking at the clock.
Yeah, no problem.
But we are going to do more of these for sure. So just to wrap it up then, for people who want to learn more about your campaign and how to get in touch with you, how can they do that? And I will put that information on the screen also.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Mike. Barbalunga.com. It's got everything you need. Check it out. And I do want to announce one thing today that we're pretty excited about. The union at the Berkshire County Sheriff's Office, which I think is representing about 47% of all employees, has announced that they will not publicly endorse Sheriff Tom Bowler. So we're excited about that. We're not getting endorsed either, but that is a huge, huge statement by a body of employees that have worked for him for 12 years that they're not going to endorse him publicly. So that was good news. I think what it means, it's pretty obvious, and that's what we're going to dig into later this summer. I can't thank you enough for this opportunity. Anytime, 10-minute hits, 30-minute hits, I'm available, and I'd love to come on your show again.
Yeah, I've got the sheriff coming on also, so I'd love to have you back. And you know, the more times the better that we can do this before Election Day, and most importantly, everyone has to get out and vote September 6th. So,
Mike, last thing, we are begging for a debate or debates. We've reached out to his campaign manager. We can't get him scheduled. We've reached out to at least 6 media people. I'm including you in one that we'd be happy to come on for a debate. I made it very simple, Mike. I will show up any place, anytime, any location, any format, in-person, virtual, hybrid. It doesn't matter. We don't even have to confirm it on our end. We'll be there with the invite. And furthermore, last thing, not tongue in cheek, we've actually said this. I don't care who he brings with him. He can bring executive team with him. They can prep him. They can answer. I don't hold it against him at all. I just want the opportunity to sit in a room or a virtual room and give the voters information. They deserve it. He can bring 15 people with him. He can come by himself. Let's get it done.
Awesome. I'll be making sure that he knows that from my end, and I'd be thrilled to be able to participate in something like that.
We'd love to be there. So any help on that end is always appreciated. We've said this to 6 other media outlets. We need some help because we're failing on getting that agreement.
All right. Well, I thank you so much again, Alf, for your time today, and I hope to be talking to you soon.
Looking forward, Mike. Have a great day. Thank you.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.